Talk Norwich City, joined with Mo. Watch this guy every week. He speaks truth, mate.
Thank you very much.
Speak some truth about today.
Well, look, I'll tell all of your viewers something. I actually lived in Norwich for 3 years. Okay. Yeah, I used to work for Aviva, lived here, spent some time here. Really like the city, and I've got a soft spot for the football team as well. I attended a few Norwich games whilst I was here, and I love seeing you lot do well. Admire the fact that, you know, when you've dropped down from the top league in football, you've maintained such a loyal fan base. And, you know, I've got a lot of time for this club, especially what you've done in terms of you had a huge debt and you've worked your way out of it. You know, it goes unnoticed because Norwich aren't, you know, sorry to say it, but the biggest team. You know, it goes very, very unnoticed. But you've done great work at this club, so I've always had a soft spot. But putting all of that sentiment aside today, you know, I'm really, really disappointed in my club today because, you know, I feel like if Norwich fans were to watch Arsenal every single week for the whole of the season, you lot will probably look back on this game and be like, that was one of their worst 3 performances all season. We lose games playing better than we drew this game today, and we're lucky to have drawn it. So, you know, if I was a Norwich fan, I'd be very disappointed not to have got a big scalp today. I don't know what was wrong with us.
When you were 1-0 up after like 30 minutes, absolutely, you know, obliterating us really, were you thinking, let's kick on, let's get another few, or were you always thinking, Norwich, you got a chance to get back in this?
No, I actually don't think we were obliterating you after 30 minutes. Yeah, I think after 25 minutes, I was looking at the game and I was thinking it's quite a dead game. We're not battering the door down. You know, when you truly know what Arsenal are capable of, that wasn't it. I don't think at any point in the game we got out of third gear. We weren't battering your door down. John Roddy wasn't making amazing saves. I think you cleared one off the line. Other than that, I don't think it was that bad. You know, I can remember you having better chances than us, to be honest with you. So after 25 minutes, I thought it was a bit of a neutral, sort of empty game. Then we went and got the goal. That was really your bad work rather than our good work. And then I thought to myself, now's the time for Arsenal to push on, and we just didn't do it. And, you know, it's an old cliche in football, but the timing of your goal was so important just before half-time. And, you know, it really took the wind out of our sails. And then just before half-time you score, just after half-time Alexis gets injured. You know, and I think in the space of those 5 minutes, which was actually in real time 20 minutes, but in the space of the footballing 5 minutes, that game, those 2 moments completely changed the game for us.
I mean, we created chances throughout the whole of the second half and were unlucky not to score one of them, but you had a huge chance. Joel Campbell at the end there just didn't get onto the end of it. I've been saying, looking at Arsenal as a neutral fan, that there's way too much pressure on your strikers. You haven't brought in a top-class striker. Do you think that if you don't go on to win the league this season, your forward positions is where you sort of lose the league?
What you're saying, it applies to last season. You know, all Arsenal, I remember last season, right, we were top of the league, and a lot of Arsenal fans, you know, obviously you get caught up in the hype and the buzz that you're top of the league, and we were leading for quite a while. But then, you know, when I'd look at what the bookmakers are saying about Arsenal, no bookmaker ever had Arsenal as a favourite. And we're fans, we're biased, and we're going to hope for the best. For the bookmakers, this is business. You know, if they price it wrong, they're losing money. So that's when you can really look at it from a objective, neutral point of view. That's a true reflection of objectivity. And they never had us as favourites, and that's for a reason. The truth is, had we gone and got a striker last year, a top quality striker, they would have changed their odds. And that's what I've always said about Arsenal. I want to sign players that makes a bookmaker sit around a table again and say, look, we need to revise our odds now. And Alexis and Ozil, they're them sort of players. Czech is that sort of player. We've been calling for it in the strikers department for a long time. And look, you know, I'm sure your viewers don't watch me every week, but I defend Giroud consistently because I've always said I'm not going to criticise players who give their 100% and who fight for the cause. And Giroud really, really does. And what really disappointed me today, he didn't. He was lethargic, and you know there were times there he was delayed getting back on side. He didn't give your defenders hell. Usually he bullies 4 defenders, and I give him a lot of credit for it. Today he didn't do that, and you know I'm really, really disappointed. But you know I guess it's just one of those things, and I'm going to have to, for the sake of my own sanity, view it as you know a game that we should have lost but didn't.
Final question: are Norwich City staying up?
I think so, yeah, and I really, really hope so. As I say, I really like the club, and I think you bring something to the league. I do like Norwich a lot, so I think you will stay up, and I hope that you do. And listen, the longer Norwich stay in the league, the more chance we have of Delia coming out at half time. So that's always a welcome addition. So yeah, good luck to all Norwich fans this season.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Mate.